So, hi, Ayo. Welcome to the Great Agency podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. A pleasure to be on. Always nice to talk.
Awesome, awesome. So like, Ayo, like, the founder and CEO of Eagles Tracker. You guys are doing a lot of, amazing work. Trying to like put, Nigerian football and footballers on the map. Like, literally, like, you're one of the pioneers of like, anything that is going on in Nigerian football. Like, literally, you're talking about it. Like, from like the players to like the coaches to like even NFF, like the NFF directors and everything. So like, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, you're bigging me up a little bit too much, but I appreciate it. We're trying to do a lot of work. I have a passion for Nigerian football. I have a passion for Nigerian football players,
Yeah.
trying to help them to grow, trying to help them to be more visible, help them to
Mm,
become more household names, in Nigeria and around the world.
yeah.
NFF, they don't like me that much because I tend to call them out from time to
Yeah.
time, but I'm happy with the work that we're doing
Yeah.
because
I see a lot of those.
yeah, but there's still so much that we need to do for the Nigerian ecosystem. I always like to say like football in Nigeria is not yet really a business, and I'm trying to lead the effort along with a lot of people that have now come on board to try to turn it into a business whereby there can be so many players and everybody can be doing
Mm,
exceptional things and be doing very well. But
that's amazing. That's amazing. So before we come back to Ego Tracker, let's go back to the beginning. Like let's get to know you. Like what was where you from? What was it like growing up? I know you came from Nigeria and you're based
mm,
in Canada. So like just let us know what was the beginning
I
like.
mean, brief, I guess the brief history. I'm a Lagosian, born and raised in Lagos. Both my parents from Lagos. Lagos was my life. Went to primary school in Lagos. Went to boarding school 6 years in, you know, a very very good school. But sometimes when I look back or when I talk to certain friends that I have from secondary school, we're like, why did our parents send us there? Because it wasn't the best
Right.
condition. The education was very good,
Mm,
but everything else was.
mm,
If today's world, you might say your child was suffering and anything like that.
right.
But I think it was part of it's important for my story because I think it was part of what gave me my drive, my resilience,
Mm,
my toughness. I always
mm,
joke that I can probably survive anywhere except prison because of my
right.
secondary school experience.
Right.
And then of course immediately after secondary school, I was 15 years old when I moved to Canada to continue my education
Mm,
and went to university. Studied computer science in university.
mm,
Nothing to do with what I'm doing now. University was not the easiest ride for me. After 2 years, I had to change my major, so I ended up spending 6 years in university versus four
mm,
that most of my friends were spending, and that also gave me some battles, but also helped my mental toughness because
mm,
I watched my friends graduate before me,
mm,
and as you can imagine, there's the
yeah.
feeling of sadness.
Right.
You feel like you're lacking behind and
Mm,
things are just not happening for you like they're
mm,
supposed to. Especially like, I say this humbly, but like growing up in Nigeria, a lot of people saw me as like this smart kid.
mm.
And when you now come and it feels like, why is your own life not going the way
The
it is
way it's
supposed
supposed
to?
to.
Then you start to feel like, am I not as smart as they hyped me up
Right.
to be all this time?
Right.
But at the end of the day, I just find that whatever you want to do, whatever you're doing in this life, is always you're always able to get your best results when it's something that you love and you're passionate about.
Mm,
And I ended up realizing that I wasn't really in love with the things that I was doing in school.
mm,
So it kind of changed my perspective on education, on knowledge.
mm.
I love taking my time to learn things that I'm actually interested in. But whenever somebody tries to fit me in a box or just try to tell me that
It
this is
doesn't
what I
really
have to learn,
work.
it doesn't really work for me.
Okay, so let's take a step back. Let's go back
Okay.
to like the Nigerian life. So like you mentioned the secondary school and like the conditions there and maybe like you could go into a bit more details around that and like what experience did you pick from it to like help like make you who you are today?
A lot, honestly. Like I try to think of it like my first week in school, just one. They told us that every just one student gets 1 week of grace
Okay.
where you can get in trouble, you can mess up, and nobody will flog you, nothing, you
Right.
go on your life. My second day, they flogged
Oh,
me.
oh wow.
Literally, my second day, I was late for morning prep at the time, and they flogged me. And I remember in our boys' hostel, because at the time there was, I think, one senior hostel and there was one junior hostel. And somehow that day, there were only two taps that were running in the
Mm,
whole hostel. And you know how seniority is in boarding school.
yeah.
Seniors will come, they've
Yeah.
fetched and wasted 5 buckets of water.
Right.
Me as a just one student, I'm still on the line. I don't know anybody. Who am I going to talk to?
Right.
I don't even know who's my mate. I don't know who's my junior at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have juniors. I don't know who's my senior. I just know I'm in Jason, so everybody has to be my senior,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm literally waiting in line. I think that day eventually one of my friends that I had made on the first day was able to maybe get like half a bucket of water. So the both of us just shared the half buckets to be able
Mm.
to take our shower and just be able to get to class.
Mm.
And then obviously now I'm running late because I've been waiting the whole day to try to get water. And then I was late, and then one of the teachers, I don't want to mention his name, but I still remember him. He just told everybody that was running late to kneel down, and he
Oh,
picked
wow.
up one big plank from the ground and started flogging
Wow.
everybody. When he got to me, I was trying to, I'm just what I'm just what. He did not care.
And
He really did not care. He didn't listen to me, and then he flogged me, and I was like, okay, this is a different environment. Like I need to wise up, I need to toughen up,
right.
you know. So that was kind of what just started getting me to start to think more about my environment a little bit,
Mm.
you know, and then just also try to relate with people, you know, and as much as you don't want to, what's the word I'll use? You don't want to be pushed around. You also don't want to just upset everybody and not have friends. So
Yeah.
trying to find that right balance. Then you're in boarding school, you don't have a family with you, you don't have, you know, you don't see your parents, you don't talk to them
Mm.
unless maybe visiting day once a month,
Mm.
and you just had to grow up.
Mm.
Like that's the reality. I was 9 years old when I went to just one. You just had to grow up.
Mm.
Like there was no other way that you would survive, you
Mm.
know. And I think all that toughness, all that resilience, you know, just made me continue to grow and continue to see that if I wanted to achieve, you know, these are the things that I would have to instill in my life, and these are
Right.
attributes that I still have till
Till
today.
today.
So as much as I sometimes look back at my secondary school experience and I'm like, you know, that was not the easiest experience.
Mm.
I'm grateful that I was able to have that
Mm.
experience, and also the way my school was set up, you could not join like in any other class. You had to start from JS1.
Mm.
So everybody that graduated with me in SS3, they were there with me for 6 years.
Ooh.
So I've been able to build some very, very solid friendships. Like I
Mm.
have friends that's like, you know, they say that shared trauma is something that really brings that really brings people together.
Yeah.
So those experiences that we went through together, getting in trouble together,
Mm.
celebrating good things together, you know, good moments, bad moments. Like these are friends that till today,
Mm.
when something happens in my life, whether good or bad, I'll talk to. When I have
Mm.
business ideas that I want to discuss, I'll talk to them.
Mm.
When I have issues, complications in business, I'll talk
Mm.
to them. Like that will be at my wedding when I
Mm.
eventually get married, you know, and things like
Yeah.
that. So, you know, if I start talking about secondary school, we can be here for the entire for the whole day. But it was like all in all, I look at it as a very positive experience in my life,
Mm.
and I think that you know the person that you see today will be very very different if I didn't have my secondary school experience.
Mm. Mm. Wow, wow, that's really amazing. I mean, it sounds to me like it all turned out well at the end. So like I guess they were very like strict and like very, very disciplined, but like it sort of like made you who you are today, which is like positive thing if we think about it.
No, it is. It all worked out, and it's funny that you said that because that's now a mentality that I kind of carry in my day to day life. As much as I like to work as hard as possible, because I don't think things are just going to happen by themselves. You have to make things happen.
Yeah.
I also carry that mentality of everything is going to work out.
Okay.
You know, my mother tells me sometimes that, "Ayo, you don't worry enough,"
Hmm.
because I have this very laid back attitude about certain things. When something is going wrong, if I know that I've done everything that I can do
Mm.
within my power,
Mm.
I'm like, well, I can't control
You can
whatever
control it.
else is happening. And I'm like, it's going to work out. Like, I just believe that I've done everything that I'm supposed to do.
Mm.
So it's going to work out. And thankfully, in my life, it has always
Worked out.
worked out. So, you know, we said that we're still talking about secondary school. When we talk about uni and how I progressed, like there's certain decisions that I've made, certain risks that I've taken that seemed very scary at the start. But like when I look at my life today, I'm like, it
Yeah.
either has already worked out or it
It's
is
working
working
out.
itself out. So
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So fast forward, you finish secondary school, 6 years in secondary school. By 15, you move into Canada. So like what was like that process? First of all, from like I'm guessing it's your parents that were like, you know what, we want to send you abroad to go study so you have a
yeah.
better life. And so like what was that whole like period like, for you from
Okay.
like getting to know about it and like, moving to Canada?
Okay. So I have another brother.
Yeah.
That's where it begins. My brother was in school 3 years ahead of me. My brother finishes, he goes to the UK.
Okay.
I've gone to visit him in the UK a couple times. So I'm thinking for my last 3 years of secondary school, now okay, I'm going to finish and I'm going to go to the UK
Right.
because I have an uncle there. I have some family. My brother is there as well. That's what I knew. I didn't know anything about Canada.
Canada.
Nothing. Nothing. It was just a name that I've heard and I've known that it's cold. That's all I knew
Right.
about Canada. And SS3, getting ready to conclude everything. I did my Cambridge O-level exams,
Mm-hmm.
got good grades, did my WAEC exam,
Mm-hmm.
got good grades. Okay, now, one day I go home and my mom just calls me to the dining table. We sit down together and she puts the brochures of two schools in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the first school, I look at the second school. They're both in Canada. I'm like,
What's going on
like,
here?
what's, like, mommy, like, this is not what we've discussed. Like, what's going on? And she's literally like, yeah, this one of your friends from primary school. I
Mm,
met his mom at an event. She told me about like their family, like, oh, they have been going to Canada for years, blah, blah, blah. And she told me about this person that comes to Nigeria to talk about schools in Canada and that she went for their open whatever meeting. And she thinks that Canada makes sense
mm,
and it's a better option than going to the UK. I was heartbroken.
hmm.
I was heartbroken. Like you said at the start of this thing, I love football. So I was already calculating in my head
You go to
Premier League,
Emirates, you go to
Stamford Bridge.
Stamford
I was
Bridge.
calculating. I was like, okay, even if they send me £150 pocket money,
Yeah,
if I know that if I save £50 each month,
right.
maybe every 2 months at least I'll attend one
One
match.
match.
I was thinking football. I was like, and of course my brother. I just thought this is a place, and I had visited the UK again a number of times. I felt like I knew
You
London.
knew.
I was like, I can survive in this place. So I was honestly very heartbroken. But my mom just told me, see, take the brochures, read everything about the schools, and tell me which one you
Mm,
prefer. I realized, like at the end of the day, I'm not the one paying for my school, so
yeah.
I didn't have as much of a say as I wish I did.
Right.
So I looked it up. I saw the school, Columbia International College. It looked like a good school. The uniforms looked nice. The school building looked nice. Classes looked nice. So I was like, okay, mom, this is where I want to go.
Okay.
And I graduated from secondary school in July. By 2 weeks later, August, I was
Yeah,
on a
you
flight.
traveled.
I was on a flight to Canada. That was it.
Wow.
I even missed my set graduation party because I had to fly to Canada.
Wow.
So it was a quick turnaround. It was a quick change for me. But at the same time, while I was initially unhappy, as at that time when I was traveling, I was excited.
Mm,
I was happy. I had been living by myself since I was 9 years old in secondary boarding school. So for me, it wasn't something that was going to be so new to me, not having my parents and family around.
mm,
Of course, I was like, how am I going to survive? New environment. But also, the school that I was going to was an international school, so I knew I was going to meet Nigerians. That I was going to meet from all over the world,
yeah.
and there was a school dormitory, everything. So at least my initial stage wasn't going to be too difficult
Mm,
because the school had that structure. But at the
mm,
same time, I was 15.
right.
How much did I actually know?
No.
But it all worked out.
So like that was gonna be my next question because like as at 15 coming into like a new environment like you literally don't know anybody like all your families and your friends like in UK like literally like you're just here and like even if it's like or you move from like one city to another city in Nigeria like you're still within Nigeria like you're still within the culture you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with but like moving from like Nigeria to like Canada then now you're thinking about like oh there's a total culture shift like from like summer like all year long
Mm.
to like here now there's summer for like a couple months then like we move to like winter where it's like very very gloomy and very white and
And
like, it looks
depressing.
exactly like it looks cute in pictures but like living in it is not exactly the best for the mental health so like what was that whole process looking like and like the adjusting how did that go?
I mean, the good thing was I came during summer.
Oh, nice.
So I came in August. Everywhere was hot. Everywhere was nice.
Yeah.
Everything. I was actually looking forward to winter
Mm,
because even though I had traveled vacation as a child, I had never traveled during the winter.
mm,
Secondary school is summer break where you have 2 months
yeah.
off. That's typically when we go on vacation. So I was actually excited because I've watched movies. I've watched Home Alone. I've seen the children play in the
Yeah, playing in the
snow and
snow. Oh
enjoy
my god, it's
themselves.
so stupid.
And I was like, wow, I'm actually going to
You make snow
experience all
bunnies.
of this. And I always tell people now that snow is only nice on the first day that it falls.
Right.
After the first day, there's nothing nice about snow.
Mm,
It's just because it looks nasty once it gets dirty.
mm,
You are now restricted in things that you can do.
mm.
Everywhere is just cold. There's no fun in being cold all the time, especially when you grew up in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria that's 18 degrees in Hamatan. You are wearing sweater. You are feeling like, oh, this is cool. Now you're coming to negative
Oh my God.
temperatures.
All right.
So it was a very, very big change, But I guess I just kind of had to just accept that this was my new reality.
Mm,
As much as I've gotten used to it now, I can never like it.
mm,
That's the reality.
mm.
But at the time, it was all part of the new experience that I was embracing. Even the school that I went to, I already had what I thought colleges in the Western world were like from watching music, High School Musical, watching TV. I thought,
Yeah.
okay, this is what
It's
the
gonna be
experience is
so
going to be like.
cute. Like.
But that's not really what it was,
All right.
But I'm learning all these things, but at the same time, I'm excited every day. I'm interacting with people. I remember my first roommate was from Vietnam, so it was like even that was the first time that I was
Mm,
interacting in close contact with someone from Asia in general, you know. So it was just something that I was living every day. Some days I was unhappy about it, but at the same time, because I had adapted in secondary school in Nigeria, boarding school, from getting flogged on my second day to graduating. And at the time I graduated, I
yeah.
was, fairly respected in the school. People knew me. People knew, what I could do at my potential. So I just realized that, see, I have to adapt. Like, I'm in a new environment. My parents are paying a lot of money to
Mm,
send me here. So I need to not only survive, I need to thrive.
yeah.
And that was it. I just had to make it happen.
Mm, okay. Okay. So you came into Canada. You did college, then you went to uni. So
Yeah.
like I guess from college to like what was the transition like?
I
And
mean,
like what I guess to your question, I guess to your point around like computer science as well, like what sort of like led you into like choosing it? Then like I guess
mm.
we can go from there.
So my story has had bumps all across the way.
Yeah.
Now, college, I did 3 semesters, 2 semesters and the summer semester. After the second semester, I already had offers into a bunch of universities, some with scholarships. I was like, I'm good.
Mm,
So I accepted the offer of one of the universities. What I did not read properly on their letter was that it was a provisional offer and it
oh,
was dependent on me maintaining a certain grade.
oh,
Now, in my final summer semester in college then, I was taking just one course, chemistry. So I was like, I was done at 12 p.m. every day with my lectures, with my classes. And I was like, I've already gotten accepted into like 5 universities. So I just felt like I had nothing to worry about.
right.
I did not take that semester serious at all. Again, at this point, I was 16. I had turned 16. I was just like, well, okay, just to do this chemistry, blah, 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 this thing. So in that semester, I was doing just chemistry. I ended up getting a relatively low grade. I think I got like a 70, maybe 72.
Yeah.
So because of that one bad grade, which is it actually bad if you think about it, but
70.
it was bad compared to what my other grades were looking like.
Yeah.
It drops my overall average
Mm,
down below what the condition was for my offer to university that I had accepted.
wow.
And I did not know because I did not even realize that the offer was conditional in the first place. Now I've gone back to Nigeria on holiday just to enjoy my summer with my family before coming back for university.
Yeah.
And I remember one evening, I'm just in my house in Lagos and I get an email that my offer has been rescinded.
Whoa.
At this point, my father has paid like 50% of the fees already. I'm like, whoa, it felt like my world was falling down.
Wow.
I was like, what am I going to do? So now I'm going back and forth over email with them that what can I do? Blah blah blah. This offer actually was for computer science. And I was like, what can I do? Okay, like, would you take me in another program if you don't want to take me in computer science? Because like I know that my grade is still high enough to get into many of your programs. So like,
Yeah.
would you take me in another program? I just didn't want to have to tell my parents that my offer was rescinded and like it becomes a whole storm. So it was a whole back and forth with the woman over email for like a week and a half to the point where she was like, nope, that there's nothing that can be done.
Done.
Eventually, I had to tell my parents about it. Obviously, they were not happy. My dad had paid half of the fees already. Now he has to try to see how to get a refund from the school. Obviously, we know how refunds go. The refund never comes in as fast as they take your money.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I will have to quickly go back and look at my other offers and see which one
Yeah.
of them I'm
See.
going to apply. So eventually, that's how I ended up getting into Carleton University. But the issue was that Carleton University were taking me in for engineering, not
Okay.
computer science. And I had wanted to do computer science initially. But I was like, engineering is still a noble profession, like
Yeah.
no big deal. So I accepted the offer. Now the issue was that because I was accepting the offer late, I didn't have a space in residence anymore. So I had to find my own accommodation.
Hmm.
So that just cut my holiday short because eventually my parents, I mean, they still wanted me to go to school. So they had to find money to be able to pay Carlton fees while they are still waiting to get their money back from the other university. And then I had to just fly back because I had to find accommodation. And then that's how I eventually got into university.
Wow. Like literally, that's like we've not even gotten to like a whole, whole lot of like there's so much things happening. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so you get into Carlton and like, you do 4 years. What was the 4 years like? And yeah, what was it? Yeah.
Well, the first thing that you got wrong is I didn't do 4 years, I did 6 years. So
Oh,
now I start in computer engineering at
okay.
Carleton University. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between computer science and computer engineering? Everything engineering is a difference.
Mm,
I did not like any of the engineering courses that I was
mm,
taking. The core engineering courses I just did not like. I did not enjoy. It's like I thought I would like them because I was good at math, and everything in secondary school and growing up.
yeah.
But I just did not like them. You know, Again, one thing that I eventually learned about myself is that I'm not a big fan of rigidity. When something has set ways that it needs to happen,
Mm,
it just does not agree with me 100%. So initially, I was getting good grades, but I was not happy.
mm,
And I was trying to pass that across to my parents, but they did not understand it. It's like, look, guy, your lowest grade was a B. Like, what are you even complaining about? Like, you're doing
yeah.
okay. Just keep trying and see how it goes. In my second year, this was the first real struggle that I had. I never got officially diagnosed, but the best way I can describe it is that I fell into a depression.
Mm,
I would wake up every day just unhappy. Okay, so yeah, I was saying I was getting decent, good grades, but I didn't really enjoy what I was doing, and I was trying to explain to my parents. They didn't really understand. And again, it's different when they're not seeing you day to day, so they don't really see your mood. They don't know how you're feeling. You just talk about the phone sometimes. And yeah, again, I didn't get diagnosed by any doctor, but the best way I could describe it, looking back, even at the time, I didn't really know what I was going through, but it felt like a depression. I would wake up every day just sad about
mm,
my life, about the
mm,
fact that I had to go to class and learn these things that I did not want to learn.
yeah.
And it was a very, very tough time for me. In my second semester of my second year, I did something that when I look back now, I don't understand how I did. And this is even the first time that I would say it's like publicly. I've told a couple people. But I essentially realized that the only way that I was going to get my parents to understand what I was going on was to sabotage myself. And
Wow.
in my second semester of my second year, three of my final exams, I just did not write them. Like I just did not write them. A week before the exams, I wasn't studying. 2 days, I wasn't studying. And on the day of the exam, I'm like, I know I didn't study. So why
So
am I going to stress myself? But then I was living in a four-bedroom apartment with three of my closest friends. Still my very good friends till today. And I didn't want anybody to ask me questions because they all knew the days we each had exams, etc. Some of us were like in engineering, but maybe not the same stream. But
yeah.
we took some of the same courses. So I remember I just wake up, go take a shower. Time for my exam, I'll leave the house. I'll just get on the bus and just take the bus till the very last stop
Wow.
and then just take the bus back home. So by that time, I've spent maybe like 2 hours on the road.
Wow.
So nobody would think I did not go. I'll get back. Oh, IoT, how was your exam? Good.
Makes
It was
sense.
fine. And I did this for three exams out of five
Wow.
courses that I was taking. So I then go from this child who has always been doing well in school to somehow getting three
Feeling.
F's in one semester.
Wow.
My parents, once my mom saw my results, it was like crisis. Like, what is going on? And as far as I remember, that was the first time where she actually now asked, "Are you okay?"
Mm.
Like, so to me, it felt like my plan had worked
What?
because that was the first time when she asked, like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm not happy. Like, I'm just not happy. I don't like what I'm doing, everything." So they sent me a ticket for me to come back home. I
Mm.
went to Nigeria. Obviously, at the time, the reality of it, I had wasted some of this money. Like, that's the reality of it. It wasn't cheap. They're earning in naira, sending me here. It wasn't easy.
Mm.
But the reality is that, like, I had wasted some of their money. But when you're going through a tough time, you're not thinking about money. You're not thinking about those things. So I remember my dad was upset, like, "Oh, all you have to do is go to school, get good grades. Like, why are you feeling?" Blah, blah, blah. He didn't fully understand it. But my mom, thankfully, she was able to, like, actually talk to me and
Mm.
ask me, like, exactly what was going on. And I explained to her, like, I don't like what I'm doing. Like, I'm not happy, everything. And I was like, "Okay, so what do you have to do?" I'm like, "Well, they're going to kick me out of engineering anyway because they're not going to let me stay after failing 3 courses in 1 semester. So I just have to find my new path." And at the time, because I've always been an entrepreneur since I was young, I didn't say this about secondary school, but like back in secondary school, I used to sell PlayStation CDs in school. I was smuggling it to school
Wow.
to sell. I used to sell chewing gum. I used to sell anything that was contraband, essentially.
Yeah, the guys,
you
the
know,
authorities don't like.
but the thing is that they know that I was doing all those things. So I was still like I was the assistant head usher at my school.
Oh wow.
So I was still like, thought I was
Yeah,
a
you're supposed to be like be upholding the
but then
law.
I thought I was a good boy. But just things like, because like again, I admit like I come from a relatively privileged background.
Mm.
So a lot of the time, like my parents would be able to buy me certain things that other people's parents couldn't necessarily get them. And I was like, okay, if I've played this game and I've finished it, why am I keeping the CD at home? I'll
Yeah.
take it to school and I'll sell it to
Sell
somebody
it.
at a discounted price.
Mm.
And I was doing that. And then I realized, okay, I can buy chewing gum.
Mm.
Chewing gum is contraband, so it's not easy to get in school. So if I buy and I smuggle it into school,
Mm.
and I can sell maybe the whole pack of chewing gum you buy for 200 naira,
Mm.
but you can sell in school one for 10 or 20 naira.
Wow.
So that 200 naira can turn into 2,000 naira profit by the time you sell
Wow.
all the chewing gum inside the pack.
True. Yeah.
So I was doing things like this in school, and yeah. So I had always had this entrepreneurial mindset,
Mm.
and then I was like, okay, you know what? I want to do business when I was going to change my major. But I remember my dad telling me, he's like, "Why did I send you to Canada to learn what you can learn in uni? Like, it's like if you're going to be there, you have to do something that I know that no school in Lagos or Nigeria
Right.
can teach you at the same level as the
Right.
school in Canada." So I was
Right.
like, okay, you know what? My initial dream was to study computer science.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, computer science and programming was not in Nigeria. Like I had literally come to Canada throughout my time in Nigeria. I never heard about programming. I never knew how things showed up on computers.
Yeah.
It was my first year of college here that I actually did a programming course and I liked
Mm.
it. That's the reason I like computer science.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, why don't I go back to computer science then? Again, that question of what's the difference between computer science and computer engineering? And I'm like, everything engineering is the difference.
Mm.
It is too rigid. Computer science, you can tell 100 people to create something and they will do it in 100 different ways and achieve the same result. And I
Mm.
liked that ability to problem solve while thinking outside the box and coming up with my own ideas. So I was like, okay, I'll switch to that. I applied to get into computer science. Computer science was like, well, you just failed, so why are we going to take you into, into
Right.
our program? Obviously, nobody cares about what you're going through. All they're looking at is that, guy,
The
you just
results.
failed. How are you telling us to accept you? So they're like, no, we're not going to accept you. But you can do another program, do 1 year of that. We see your grades, and if you do well,
Can get
we can
accepted.
take you. So I now had to do 1 year as an econ major. I knew I didn't want to study economics, but I was like, if that's what it's going to take.
Take.
So I
Okay.
took a couple econ classes and then I took one programming class. And then I had that semester, I knew, okay, that year I had to be focused. I got good grades. Eventually, I now got accepted into
Computer
computer science
science.
program. But then at that point, I had to essentially start all
All
over
over.
again. So my 2 years in university
Wow.
led to, was just, the first 2 years were just kind of like a waste. And then I did another 4 years. So I ended up spending 6 years.
6 years.
So like I said initially, I watched all my closest friends graduate. I was at all their graduations. My own graduation, I was there by myself and my family,
Hmm.
and a couple of friends that I had made, you know. But it was slightly upsetting, slightly sad. But then again, these are the experiences that made me who I am today, because I eventually had to realize that, see, in this life, everybody's running a different race.
Hmm.
The fact that we started at the same point does not necessarily mean that we're going to be at the same point forever.
Right.
Somebody can have a fast start and eventually things slow down. Or the person might be fast forever. You can have a slow start and eventually things just pick up for you and fly to
Hmm.
the moon.
Yeah.
So I just had to understand that I've been sad once, I'm not going to be sad again. I'm just going to have to keep pushing. But that also brought a lot of shifts in my mentality, the way I worked. When I was much younger, I used to go out a lot. I wasn't as focused. I wasn't as determined, because I was somewhere that I felt like I was naturally smart. So I didn't have to work that
To
hard
work
to
that
get good
hard.
grades. But then after I had this setback, I was like, I need
You
to be
need to
focused.
be on your
I need to
game.
do my things. And that's kind of how I became, people like to call me a workaholic, but that's kind of how I became a workaholic, just working
Right.
all the time. Because again, I also felt like I had slightly disappointed my parents and I wanted to win them back. Even though obviously they still loved me, I'm still their child. They'll still
Yeah.
do whatever they needed to do for me. But I just, I felt that internal disappointment of like, I'm supposed to be the smart kid. Like, why is this happening to me?
Hmm.
So it was just, a learning process for me. Changed the way I thought, changed the way I lived my life, but not worked out.
That worked out. Okay, so at some point you realize that, you know what, maybe computer science is not for you. Like, right?
Yes,
And I know that because obviously we stayed in the same, house, at some point. So like, and that was when you started Eagles Tracker, right?
yes. In that,
So
in that, that
in
small
that
room.
that's what yeah, so interest. So I guess like, so what led to, like, you're in school, you're doing computer science, and all of a sudden you're starting Eagles Tracker. So like, what led to that? And like, yeah, what led to that first off?
Okay. So I used to still play a lot of football when I was in school,
Yeah.
but I had slowed down a lot of the other things I used to do. But I loved my football. I used to play almost every day. And one day I got injured. I tore my meniscus in my left knee.
Mm.
So that now meant that I couldn't do even the physical activity that I like to do. I couldn't party again. I couldn't do everything. And this happened in my final year.
Mm.
So for this final year, all I was doing was going to class and going to my room. I didn't mention this, but also after that whole incident, my parents told me I had to move back to school campus,
Ooh.
because they were like, they don't know if it's me leaving campus. Because when you
Right.
were on campus, everything was fine. You left campus, everything
Things
has
scatter.
scattered. So they told me to move back on campus.
Yeah.
I didn't want to argue, because at that point I kind of knew I was in a tight spot.
Yeah.
So I went back on campus. So all I was doing was going to class and going to my room. My friends would invite me for things, for parties. Nah, I'm just going to be in
Interested.
my room. So also just going to class. Shout out to Abdul, one of my friends. Abdul, when it comes to programming, Abdul like is a very,
This
very
game.
good
Yeah.
programmer. And I had seen his drive and his passion since we were in same classes together. And I knew I didn't have that drive or passion.
Mm.
I could just see it. I was someone that God blessed me with smarts. So I could learn, I could understand, I could produce. But it wasn't something that brought me joy. We would come back on a Monday, Abdul will say, Guy, look at what I've been working on for the past 2 weeks, and he will show me blah blah blah. And I was like, me, I don't work on anything first. If it wasn't an assignment,
Yeah, no,
I
I'm not
wasn't I
working
wasn't
on
really
it.
working on anything.
Right.
Literally. So I realized that, am I about to now go into the real world
Right.
and compete with these people who
Mm.
have just as much, if not more talent than I have for this thing.
Mm.
But then they now have 10 times my drive and my
Mm.
passion
Mm.
for it. So I was like, if I do that, I'm not going to thrive. I'm just going to survive.
Mm.
I felt like I was smart enough that I would be okay, but I felt like I would never get to the top
Mm.
because I don't have that passion.
You'll be average at
I'll be
best.
average and best. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Mm.
And people that know me know I don't like being average.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I don't like mediocrity. It's like I want to try, and even like if I'm doing any game, anything, like I want to win. That was just always me. So I was like, I don't think I can compete in this industry truly.
Mm.
Like I don't think I can. So I started, and again, I wasn't going out much, so I had a lot of time to think. And then I started thinking, and I was like, what truly brings me joy?
Mm.
What truly makes me happy? I was like, well, I like building things. I always have a bunch of ideas. I like football.
Mm.
So those were three things that kept on repeating in my head. I like football. I like building things. I have a lot of ideas. And then I think close to my final exams, because the way it works here is you have final exams in April, but graduation is in June.
Yeah.
So close to April, I started thinking, okay, well, the plan is to pass. So I'm about to pass my final exams, go into the real world. What am I going to do? So I was like, okay, I need to do something along the lines of the things that I actually enjoy doing. Because again, after that time that I was unhappy, before then, if you ask me what was my ultimate goal in life,
Mm.
I always used to say my ultimate goal in life was to be successful.
Mm.
But now my ultimate goal in life is to be happy.
Mm.
And it was because of that experience of sadness that I had. So I was like, I need to do something that makes me happy.
Mm.
And football makes
Was
me
it?
happy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try coaching football. And while I was in school, I was already a referee in like for football and basketball in intramurals. But then I was leaving school, so I didn't want to come back and be working in the school's intramural system. So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to try coaching football." And I remember I just did some research, and then I saw that the university's football team's head coach was a Ghanaian man, Ghanaian Canadian man.
Mm.
So I actually, you
Well,
understand me.
yeah.
So I just saw his email on the school's website, everything. I emailed him, just giving him my story of my life. I'm a child from Nigeria. I love football. I want to get into coaching, blah blah blah. And then to my surprise, he replied me. He's like, "Oh, nice to meet you. Come to my office. Let's talk." I went to his office, had a chat with him. He's like, "Well, yeah, you don't have any licensing, so you can't work with me, blah blah blah. But here are some clubs that you can reach out to. They're always hiring new coaches that
Mm.
are passionate about the game, everything,
Mm.
you know." And that's how I did. I started reaching out to these clubs. Two of them responded. I went to one. From the first time, they asked me to come and join them for an under nine session.
Mm.
Working with under nines is not easy because children, I don't really know what's going on. But
Mm.
I did that session. The guy could see my passion, could see my drive. We spoke about football. He could see my knowledge. And he was like, "You know what? I want to take you at our club.
Mm.
I think you will do well here." And that's how I started. Did a
Mm.
couple sessions with under nines, and then they moved me up to under 12s,
Wow.
and that was literally how football became my thing. And then from doing that, what really drove me to then having the idea of Eagle Striker was one day my mom was on the phone and we're talking, and my mom knows how much I love football. So she was telling me like, wow, that I won't guess who sat beside her on the plane as she was on a flight,
Mm.
I think from Abuja to Lagos or something. That oh, I won't guess who sat beside her. Then she told me the person. And she was like, they started talking, and he was just talking about how he's going through a lot. Financially, he doesn't have money. And this is somebody that I won't name his name for privacy reasons. But
Right.
anybody that watches football in Nigeria
Knows
knows
him.
this person. And she was like, oh, when he was playing, he used to send money back home for people to do things for him. They didn't do those things. They would just bring papers for him to sign. He would sign the papers.
Mm.
He didn't know what he was signing because it was not was an illiterate. He didn't really
Mm.
know anything,
Mm.
and ultimately he was almost bankrupt.
Wow.
And I just thought, I'm like, this is someone that I really, really adored and looked up to. And the reason why he's in this situation now is he had wrong people around him, and he didn't have the knowledge that he should have had. And unfortunately for him, while he was playing and while he was famous, he didn't do the things that he should have done that would allow him to keep making money even after
After,
his
yeah.
career. And then that's when it just hit me. How can I make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody again?
Mm.
And I was like, footballers need branding.
Mm.
Nigerian footballers need proper branding.
Mm.
And we're getting into this digital age. This was in 2019. We're getting into this digital age. Everybody's on social media. I'm like, they need a presence.
Mm.
And then the first thing that occurred to me was like, as much as I love Nigerian football, nobody even talks about them.
Mm.
I was like, I'm going to be the one that will talk about them.
Mm.
I'm going to be the one that will make people to really appreciate them. And again, it's like if I have this problem, there have to be other people that are also having this problem. I can't be the only one that's passionate about Nigerian football. I can't be the only
Right.
one that likes football that much. And in my life, I've had several different business ideas up to this point. But most of the business ideas that I have require capital to start. I've been a child my whole life. Where's which capital do I have?
Yeah.
But this was the first idea that I had. And I was like, what do I actually need to start? I just need to start on social media.
Mm.
So the day I had the idea, I created the social media pages.
Mm.
I was like, I don't really know what I want to do yet,
Mm.
but I don't want to not do this thing.
Right.
So I started it. And then from there, I started thinking it up. Okay, post this, post that, talk about
Mm.
this, talk about that. And then I go from a random guy in university. I eventually graduated, random guy from university, no experience in the media industry. Nobody knows me in the football industry in
Mm.
Nigeria. And in a couple months, I have over 100,000 followers on social media.
Wow.
People know who I am now. People care about my voice. People care about what I have to say. And it really just happened like that.
Wow.
And obviously, seeing that kind of growth was inspiration and motivation for me to keep going.
Mm.
So I started doing that. I was still coaching, and then I was also refereeing, not in school anymore, but for like one of the adult leagues
Yeah.
that happened here in Ottawa. And yeah, that's kind of how I switched from computer science to football.
Football. Okay. So we had a conversation just before this podcast about like, life after school, where like there was a bit of a bump and, you had to work with a couple people. So like I guess maybe we could go into that. Like what's okay, so like you graduated, like did you move into like a ghost tracker full time? Or like obviously you mentioned you were still like working, the coaching job and like the refereeing, but like those were like just like side gigs. But
Mm-hmm.
like, there was like a main thing. What did that look like? I'm done with school now. I've gotten my degree. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm into the like, the real world now. So
Mm.
like what did that look like?
Okay. So I graduate, I get my degree, I give it to my mother. Thank you for everything you've done here.
Damn.
She took it back to Lagos with her.
Hmm.
And I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? My coaching was part time then, but I was very good at it. They liked me.
Mm.
So the plan was for me to go and get my license, a
Mm.
professional license.
Yeah.
And then the club said they would hire me full time once I get my professional license. So that
Mm.
was my idea.
Mm.
But again, all this was happening in 2019. Guess what happened in 2020?
COVID.
COVID-19.
Wow.
So now the pandemic hits, everything shuts
Closed
down.
down.
Football stops. Everything stops. The little money I was making stops.
Wow.
It becomes a tough time. But I remember the only thing that I still had, I had my social media, I had my audience.
Mm.
So I was like, you know what? Everybody is at home now. Okay, I'm going to start creating content. I want to talk to Nigerian footballers.
Mm.
I want to talk to as many of them as possible.
Mm.
And me as a nobody, I just started reaching out to people. I reached out to Super Falcons players, reached out to Super Eagles players, Super Eagles legends. Just reached out to people. And to my surprise,
They accepted.
people were saying yes. That's one thing that I always tell people. Even when people that are starting podcasts, I'm like, see, I don't care how small you think you are.
Right.
Reach out to people.
Mm.
You will eventually land somebody, and you will land somebody big, and it will shock you that this person wants to come on your tiny platform.
Mm.
But once the person sees your passion and sees your knowledge, it doesn't really matter how big the platform is. And one thing with me is I was not trained professionally in the media space. So my conversations with these people, they could tell that this guy is just a fan. They're just having a conversation with a knowledgeable fan. But I wasn't asking you any questions to trick you into giving some answer for headlines or anything. It was very fun. They always had fun talking to me. And I spoke to Victor Boniface, Victor Osime, Tai Taiwo, Vincent Yama, Yakubu Ayegbeni, legends, current players, future stars. At the time, Osime then was not the Osime
Well,
of
yeah,
today.
it was still like an
It was
upcoming.
still, yeah, it was, that's
Yeah.
when he joined Lille. I remember at the time I spoke to him, I think he had 39,000 followers or something on
Mm.
Instagram. Now he has how many million, you know.
Wow.
So it's like I was talking to people, and I remember then journalists that have been in the Nigerian media space for like 10, 20 years
Mm.
will be sending me messages like, bro,
How
how
did
did
you
you
get
get this
this
guy to
person?
talk to you? I've been trying to get to him. He's not
Right.
answering. And I'm that guy. I swear,
I
I
don't
just
know.
sent him a DM on Instagram. I did not know, maybe I knew this person, I knew this person. No, I just
Mm.
sent him a DM on Instagram, explained who I am, what I'm trying to do,
Mm.
and they rocked with it. And we had a great conversation. And then from there, I was doing an interview maybe every other day. It
Mm.
gets to the point where I'm doing an interview every day. It
Wow.
gets to the point where, from me reaching out to people now, people are reaching out
Reaching
to
out
me
to you.
and saying, bro, please, I want to be on your show.
Wow.
It gets to the point where people are saying, bro, how much do I need to pay you to be on your show?
Wow.
It was crazy. It was all new to me. At that time, honestly, I wasn't even really thinking of it like a business per se.
Right.
I was just enjoying
You're
myself.
having fun
And I saw the opportunity. I was like, okay, this thing is serious.
booming.
I went to go and make merchandise. I said, okay, you know what? Let me try to
Yeah.
monetize a little bit. I started making merchandise, selling merchandise to people, everything. People were buying. I was creating custom merchandise for the players as well. Everything. It was all fun. It was going well. It even got to the point where I had so many interviews that I couldn't do all of them by myself.
Hmm.
I had to get somebody to say, you know what, please
Come on,
come
support
on,
here.
come on. I need you. I don't have money to pay you yet, but please, it's going to get you some exposure. People are going to know you. I
Hmm.
need you to handle some of the interviews. Samuel Chukwueze, Leon Balogun, Maduka Okoye, a bunch of people she was interviewing. I was interviewing people as well. And that was just kind of how all that was happening. But then with the pandemic, I still had bills to pay. I still
Yeah.
wasn't making that much money. So I was like, I kind of have to go and get a job because at the end of the day, like
Oh,
this is not yet bringing me money. I have to get a job.
mm.
So I knew I didn't want to get a programming job because I just wanted
Mm.
to do something that will make me happy.
Mm.
So I go and I start applying for business and marketing roles because I was like, those are areas that I actually have interest. So I was applying for business and marketing roles, and then lo and behold, one day I see an ad on Indeed. It's not an ad for Indeed, but I see an ad on Indeed,
Yeah.
and the role just says, "Not your ordinary assistant job."
Mm.
And I was like, intriguing. Okay, I look it up. I apply. It was maybe one of 100 applications that I made that day. Maybe 100 might be a stretch, but I made a lot of
A
applications
lot.
that day.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, about 3 days later, I get a response. Like, oh, I'm this from this. I saw your application. I want to talk to you. When are you free? That was when I now started taking it seriously. I went to look up the person, blah, 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 everything, and I saw the person I was going to be working for hugely successful, hundreds of millions of dollars net worth. So he has built businesses. He has made a lot of money. I was like, wow, this is actually going to be a big opportunity for me.
Mm.
So I went to go and do research on him, everything. And then I thought on the day of the interview, I thought maybe one of his employees or somebody will interview me. So I get on the call. Lo and behold, it's this
Is
man.
the one.
He's literally the one there. I'm like, whoa. But thankfully, I had done my research. So I knew who he was, what he had done. So as we're talking, we just vibed, man. We just connected. He could see my passion. He could see that I wanted to work and I wanted to work hard. And he could see that I wanted to be successful.
Mm.
I wasn't coming to just be a slouch. And from the first interview, he was already talking about, don't worry, when we go and get coffee later, I'll tell you about this, I'll tell you about that. So that was already kind of giving me the hint that,
Oh my bless
I
you
might,
don't get the
it's
role.
like I have this thing in the bag. But then he's like, well, I still need this other person to interview you. And then when she gives me her recommendation, then I'll decide or not. So I was like, cool. Then I spoke to the person, asked her questions. I was always intentional also about asking about how I can progress because I knew I didn't want to work as somebody's assistant for the rest of my life. So I was thinking about how I can progress.
Yeah.
And funny thing was, she who was interviewing me used to be his assistant.
Oh.
And now she was working as the head of marketing in one of his new companies.
Mm.
So she was my clear example that if I put in the work and I do well, I can progress. And then thankfully she liked me as well. She told him to hire me. He hired me.
Mm.
And I think after the final interview, I was supposed to start working like a week.
Mm.
It was a big change for me, but I was excited. I was
Mm.
excited. I was also just happy to have a job and be collecting salary because
Yeah.
I
You
needed the
needed
money.
it.
I needed the money. And yeah, I ended up as his executive assistant, helping him with day-to-day things, running errands, helping him schedule things for him, for his kids, for his family, just doing anything. But then along the line, he started telling me about how he has an idea for a new business. He wants to start a new company.
Mm.
And then we'll bounce ideas off of each other. I'll say this is what I think. He'll tell me this is what he thinks. We'll talk about ideas. We had concepts for podcasts,
Mm.
talked about branding, talked about marketing, how we can promote the business. And then after a couple months, I think I started working for him in March. Then by December, he's like, see, I want to actually go full steam ahead with this company and this idea. I think you're too smart to be running errands for me.
Mm.
I want you to come and work with me in this new company. And I was like, yes, please.
Wow.
I will. And that was how I then moved. I was still working as an assistant in the new company, but now I wasn't running random errands.
Around. Yeah.
I was doing everything related to the growth of the business. And it was a new experience for me. The truth is that initially I was faking it until I make it.
Mm.
Because a lot of the things that I was doing, I
You
had
didn't
never
really
done
know.
before.
Mm.
I didn't go to school for business, so I didn't really know how to do certain things. But one thing that he knew about me was that I wanted to be successful.
Mm.
And if you ask me to do something, I would
You get it
try my
done.
best and
Mm.
get it done. Was I making mistakes? Yes. But I also give credit to him because he realized that he hired me as, how old was I at the time? Maybe 21, 22-year old.
Mm.
No experience. This is my first ever job. So he was aware of the fact that like I don't know a lot of things. And he would teach me the
Mm.
things that I did not know. His main thing was you have to try first. Don't
Mm.
just tell me, oh, I don't know. You have to try first. And if I correct you and teach you something, don't repeat that error again in the future.
Mm.
And that's something that I was aware of, and I made sure I wasn't repeating errors. And then from there, I was working that role. After some time, he's like, Ayo, you're doing well. I like you. I think you have a bright future, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to add $10,000 to your salary.
Wow.
I'm like, thank you. In my time working for him, I got like three, four salary raises.
Wow.
And it was only once that I actually asked for a raise. Every
Wow.
other time was him just saying,
You
I
know,
see the
you're
work you're
doing a
doing.
great
You're
job.
doing well. Take more money.
Wow.
Nobody's going to say no to more money. And it was a very, very nice time. I was in meetings that, frankly, I didn't need to be in, but I think he just let me be there to learn. Meetings with suppliers, meeting with tech people, meeting with relevant, important people.
Mm.
And I was just soaking everything in, meeting with accountants. Like, why do I have to know how much money is in the bank account and everything? But he let me have
All
all that.
right.
I mean, to be fair, he trusted me a lot because like I had access to all the accounting, all the business, everything. I had access to it.
Mm.
And at the point, he's like, okay, I'm going to hire somebody else to be my assistant. I want you to run operations for the company.
Mm.
I was like, operations? Okay, I'll do it.
That's great.
Because for me, I wasn't going to say no, I can't. So I
Mm.
said, I'll do it. So I was handling all the logistics, I was handling the websites, I was handling all the partners, all the suppliers, just making sure that the business was moving on a day to day. And it
Mm.
was exciting. Even though I was doing beyond what my job description said, because
Mm.
sometimes websites break down, they'll call me. you know, but I was happy to work, man. I was just grinding. I wanted to be
Mm.
successful. I wanted them to see me as a useful part of the team, and then eventually the company keeps growing. We're hiring more people, making serious money. And I then became operations and systems manager.
Mm.
Um, my responsibility was increasing, but again, one thing that I liked about my boss was as my responsibility was increasing, the
Compensation
compensation
is
was increasing
increasing
as
too.
well. But they worked me hard. It was a very good experience for me.
Mm.
The downside of it was because of how hard I was working. English
You
tracker
took
was
us
falling to
suffer.
the wayside, to
Wow.
the side. I just did not have the time to spend on English tracker anymore.
Mm.
One of the reasons why he told me he hired me was because he too did research on me just like I did research on him.
Mm.
And he had seen Eagles Tracker and he liked that I had an entrepreneurial mindset.
Mm.
But my business was suffering. The momentum that I had gained during the pandemic, all that period, was essentially gone.
Gone.
I wasn't active anymore. I hadn't done a single interview for maybe a year.
Wow.
My presence, my following was still there, but I had a very engaged following before to the point where I make a post, not a single comment.
Oh.
People kind of stopped caring, but maybe they just did not bother to go and click on follow on
Mm.
the page,
Mm.
so it was falling to the wayside. And I remember people would tell me, Ayo, you need to go back to doing English tracker, like, oh, you've lost a lot of momentum. But then I'll always look at, do you see how much you are paying me? I'm like, we're asking you to go, do you see how much they are paying me? I would try to do it after work, at night, everything.
Mm.
But the hours were just like, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm spending 9 to 5 on paper, but in reality, it was from the moment I wake up to the moment I slept. So I was working on this business.
Like 12, 14, 16 hours.
Yeah, so it was like I barely had time to do anything. And it continued like that for years. I was still active sometimes, making posts. Especially during the weekends is when I was really active the most. But during the week, little to nothing going on. Weekend
Mm.
come again, I'll make posts, 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 posts. But I wasn't interviewing people. I wasn't going live. I wasn't really creating video content, anything. People were not seeing me. And that's one of the things that people really liked, even the players from the
Mm.
beginning, was me. Not just the platform that I had, it was me. So I lost a lot of momentum. And yeah, I worked for this company for almost 3.5 years.
Mm.
And one day they let me go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, okay. This is it's quite shocking to hear that, considering like literally how you were, you're basically like the second founder, like the co-founder of the company.
Almost.
Yeah, because you're basically there from like the inception,
From when it
from
was an
like the
idea in his
idea
head. Yes.
to like.
I was there when they named the company. I was there when we came up with everything about the business.
Mm.
I was the go-to for everything. But yeah, one day he said we needed to have a meeting. I showed up and he handed me a letter and I saw I was being let go.
That was it. Wow.
Yeah, that was my welcome to the corporate world.
Wow. And like, is this something you could like you anticipated? Maybe it's like you did something or something.
Caught me totally, totally off guard. I was doing well. There were no complaints. Things were progressing in the right direction. The business was doing well,
Mm.
on track to make like 2 times the previous year's revenue. You know, I wasn't working a sales role, so I wasn't bringing sales for the company, but I was. If I wasn't doing my work well, the company would not be making all the money that they were making
Yeah,
still because I was
yeah,
handling
like
logistics.
operations. Yeah.
Yeah, and it caught me very off guard. I was stunned. Like when he gave me the letter, he didn't even tell me with his mouth. He just gave me the letter. And then I read the letter and I saw my mouth was just open. And then I was like, why? And it's like, we just want to go in a different direction. We just want to go in a different direction. It broke me, man. Like I couldn't work that day. I couldn't work that day. It broke me, but I just had to accept it. And like it was just another bump on the road.
Mm.
And then again, I remember just telling myself, everything will work out.
Mm.
Like I wanted, because really at that time in my life, I thought maybe I'll work with this man for like 6 years.
Mm.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, I'll work with him for 6 years and then I'll reevaluate. I knew I didn't want to work for him forever, but I felt like I could gain so
So
much
much.
progress and so much knowledge working for him.
Mm.
Because I looked at him like my mentor. Everything I know about business today, he probably taught me 95%. The rest
Mm.
I learned online.
Mm.
I didn't go to any business school. I didn't. So I thought like he liked me, I liked him.
Mm.
He knew my parents knew him. So that happened, and once again in my life, I just had to adapt to my new circumstance.
Wow. 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 That's actually like interesting. I guess what lesson do you like pick out from that whole situation? If at all there's even a lesson for someone to pick, like is it that maybe like you shouldn't put in so much effort? Like if it's not like your business, like if it's just your job, like just do like
I mean, so lessons, honestly, it depends on who you are and what kind of mindset you have.
yeah.
For someone like myself, I took some negative lessons, but I also took some positive lessons.
Mm,
Like I said, I learned a lot about business. I connected a lot of people that frankly only connected with me because of who I was working with.
mm,
I was able to grow as an individual, as a professional. Things that would help me for the rest of my life.
yeah.
Help me with my own thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there were also the parts of like, okay, I don't think I want to pour into someone else's cup
Mm,
ever again, like I did,
mm,
because at any point the person can say they don't need you anymore. So I guess for me, really, what I would tell anybody is that in whatever situation that you're in, you're working a job. I'm not saying don't try to be the best that you can be,
mm,
but just like in life, you have to be aware of your mortality.
mm,
In that business, in that job that you're working, you also have to be aware that as long as it's not your company, you are replaceable.
mm,
Because they let me go, and in less than a week, they had my replacement.
mm,
I hadn't even left before they brought in my replacement. So, as important as I was in the company, they were able to replace me like that.
exactly.
So, that's just what I would tell anybody.
Mm,
Don't sacrifice your own happiness, your own goals to help somebody else achieve their goals.
mm,
Try to do both if you can. But if you can't, prioritize yourself. Now, I know that circumstances might not always be like that, depending on how much money you're making, depending on whether or not you have responsibilities. I'm lucky enough to still be single, no kids, no family to take care of. But I
mm,
know some people that are the ones that are taking care of their family back home.
mm,
They're taking care of a bunch of people, so they might not have the same, room that I have.
right.
But you just always have to prioritize yourself because
Mm,
any employer in the world will prioritize themselves over you.
over you.
It doesn't matter if your wife is pregnant and you need this job to be able to take care of your kids, whether you need a job to pay school fees. Once they're tired of you, once they feel like they don't want you anymore, they will let you go to deal with all your own problems.
Mm.
So prioritize yourself.
Wow, that's an important lesson for people to take. Okay, so like going forward, I guess what was the next thing after that?
The next thing after that was okay, I need to go back into the job market.
Right.
I mean, started looking for jobs, applying for a bunch of different things. But then I was like, well, before I get a new job, I still need to be making money. So all this time, for whatever reason, my brain hasn't told me like, guy, go back and just focus on your business. So I was like, okay, I need to apply for jobs. I need to find, excuse me, I need to find something to do. And then I went to be an Uber Eats delivery driver because I was like, I need to be making money somehow.
Yeah, you're desperate.
Yeah, I was just like, I need to be making money somehow. So thankfully, I have my car. And I just said, okay, you know what? I'll be driving around, doing it. But then it just wasn't giving me any joy. And I would sacrifice some joy for money, but even the money was not it.
Was yeah.
Especially coming from a place where I was working a very professional job, making good money. I was making enough money that if I had a family, I could take care of my family on the money that I was making. And then now I'm making what, 13, 14, $15 an hour. It really just did not really make sense to me. And then one day I ran the red light because of the way the Uber Eats thing works. They don't care about how long it takes to deliver an order. The price that you're getting paid is the price that you're getting paid. If the person gives you tip, fine, you make some extra money. So I was always rushing whenever I was delivering food. I want to be doing it in the shortest time possible,
Possible.
just trying to be as efficient as possible. And one day I accidentally ran the red lights.
Mm.
I say accidentally, like I did not see the light, but
Where like
I
you
thought
hit
I
it.
thought I could make it before it turned red. I genuinely thought I could, and unfortunately I didn't. So I ran the red lights, and then obviously I got a ticket for it, and all the money that I made that day was
Went
wiped
to
off in one
just to
ticket.
pay tickets.
And I was just like, why would I take all this time to do all of this? and I can't even afford to pay for a ticket and have something left. And this does not even include money that I had to spend on gas, or like if there's any kind of damage to your vehicle, you have to take care of that by yourself, you know. So I just said, nah, this is not really sustainable for me. All this time that I'm spending on the road, I was spending like 6 hours a day on the road. I was just like, I'd rather put those 6 hours into my own thing, into my own business. I've helped somebody build something from the ground, from an idea in their head to making millions of dollars.
Mm.
I'm like, why can't I try to do that for myself? I already have something going that I built to a certain point, but I just stopped it. I didn't stop completely, but I reduced my effort significantly. The people were no longer connecting with me because I had just disappeared. And it almost became a faceless brand,
Mm.
even though initially what drew people to it was the
Was the
face behind the
face.
brand. So I said, okay, I need to come back to that. I doubled down. I bought some new equipment. I thought a bit more about how to do this thing properly. And I went full steam ahead on my own thing.
Mm.
I said, you know what? I'm young. I have some money saved up. Shout out to my family. I was like, even if push comes to shove, my family will support me small. And they
Mm.
will just allow me to just,
Yeah.
be destitute. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to do this thing.
Mm.
And from there, I just quadrupled my efforts. Things that I wasn't focusing on before, I started focusing on creating more content, trying to monetize content a lot more,
Mm.
trying to sign more clients. The clients that I already had that stuck with me, even when I wasn't giving them my full attention, I said, now I have to just stick with them and
Mm.
do a lot more for them, get them more opportunities. And thankfully, things have been going well. I've gotten money. I've made money for some people. I've made some money for myself. I've helped people to grow their brands as
Mm.
professional athletes, help them to get opportunities. And yeah, I'm still in the process of trying to make it big in this football media world.
Mm.
But so far, it's going well. In the past 6 months, I've seen a lot of growth, like even just with social media numbers. YouTube following has grown by like 200%.
Mm.
The viewership, the audience, people are always engaged. People want to hear me talk about things. They want me to tell them who the next player to watch out for
Mm.
is. My clients are excited about the things that I'm doing for them. My clients are also progressing in their careers, which is always nice to see.
Mm.
And there's just so much more that I still have to do. So my passion, my fire is burning more than ever.
Mm.
I see the vision. I see that I can get to where I want to get to.
Mm.
This thing that I started just on a whim, I know that can be so much more, and I
Mm.
want it to be so much more.
Mm.
And I'm just doing everything I can to achieve that right now.
Mm. Mm. So before we conclude, I want to digress a bit. Um, let's talk about like your relationship life, and I mean like obviously like, um, are you single? Are you
Well,
dating someone?
right now I'm single.
Okay.
I was in a relationship that, I'm not going to go into my private life like that, but I
Yeah.
was in a relationship that ended. Um, but yeah, I mean, the reality of it is not everybody can date someone like myself. I know the kind of person you are too, so I'll say someone like us,
Yeah.
where you're very focused on what you want to do, focused on your goals, you're trying to achieve a lot, you're trying to do so much. It takes a different kind of person to have the patience to
Mm.
really understand that, see your vision, and stick with it.
Mm.
Again, it's easier for somebody to do that when you're sending them $50,000 every month,
Right.
and everything. But when you're still at a startup stage,
Mm.
where you know, at some point, you're not even making enough money to pay yourself,
Mm.
not to talk of to be spending on babe and things like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody can stick with you.
Mm.
Um, Not saying that the person that I was with did not understand, that wasn't the reason. But even in that relationship, we still had our fights over like, oh,
Yeah.
she might want us to go out and do something, and I'm like, babe, there's work to
This
be
work
done.
is to be done.
There's work to be done, and the way my brain works, even when there's no work to be done, my brain thinks of more work to do.
Mm.
It's like there's always something that you can be doing.
Mm.
Even if I knock out all my tasks, I then start thinking about, okay, well, what other idea can I come up with? Oh, this client, well, what else can I do for them?
Mm.
What other opportunities there?
Mm.
Okay, Sometimes I even start thinking of just random things like, well, should we change these graphic templates?
Mm.
Those things that like really are not priority, but I'm just always
The
trying
little
to
little
improve.
one
And
percent.
exactly, I was about to say that, we watched Daniel see your podcast, and that's something that I learned from. It's like just that 1%, see how you can make every little improvement,
Mm.
and eventually those little improvements
The
add up into
compound.
something big. And that's what I'm always thinking about. I'll just start looking at my analytics on YouTube. What can I do to drive more views?
Mm.
What can I do to drive more revenue? What can I do to drive the subscriber count up?
Mm.
I'm looking at client social media pages because I manage over like 20 social media accounts. I'm like, okay, this person did this much last month. What can we do to increase it this month?
Close it.
I'm just constantly thinking of different things. And it's not always a good thing, to be honest. I acknowledge that because even my mother tells me, like, sometimes you need to rest.
Mm.
She'll be telling me, like, okay, if you fall sick now, who's going to do all this work that
Mm.
yeah, that you want to do? So I always try to, find that harmony because my previous boss told me that there's nothing like work-life balance. That the best you can get is work-life harmony. Your work
Mm.
and your life are intertwined, but are working together.
Mm.
So I try my best to find that harmony. I try to distract myself sometimes. Maybe I'll go see a movie just so that I know that I'll waste 2 hours because, well, I'm not say waste like that,
Like
but
you just use it to
yeah, to
disconnect.
disconnect a little bit because if
Yeah.
I'm at home, I'll probably be doing some work,
Mm.
or sometimes I'll FaceTime somebody for like an hour because again, if I'm not on that call, I know myself, I'll be working,
Mm.
and I'm a human being at the end of the day. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a robot because I'm just
Mm.
doing. And when you keep doing like that, your body will eventually tell you that, bros,
You need to slow
you
down.
need to slow down. Like I've had days where like I'm just broken down and like I just cannot
Cannot do
do anything.
anything. Yeah,
You
I
know.
feel you.
So I kind of realized that okay, I need to find that harmony as much as possible,
Mm.
even if it's to just take some time to disconnect. Like I got to the point whereby even like eating, I would be working the whole day and I don't eat. Not
Mm.
because I'm not hungry, but because I don't want to take 30 minutes to go to the kitchen to go and put together something to eat. I'm just
Mm.
like, I have work
That
to do.
takes
I
him
have
like
work to do.
that
It
momentum
feels
is
like, why
like
am I going to go and now waste 30 minutes? And the way my brain is that once I've started the task, I need to finish that task.
yeah.
I just need to finish that task. And I'm like, why am I going to take 30 minutes to go to the kitchen, start this thing? I'll use another 15, 20 minutes to eat the food. Now
Yeah,
one
but you
hour
now
has just
come
gone
back.
like that.
I like you have to. Like I
So
like I totally get your point because like one of the things I also struggle with is like you start something, even beyond like just going to go and like disconnect. But sometimes you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish it. This thing is gonna take me like 30 minutes to do. Is this thing gonna take me like 1 hour? Then I realize 2 hours, I'm not done. 3 hours, I'm not done. Then it's like midnight, I'm still working, and then I'm like, okay,
and that's it. But
and
for me, it's like once I've even last night, just
yeah,
last night, I was editing a video
mm,
and I was like, okay, you know what? I just want to start. Let me just get it started and
mm,
just, I'll and then next thing I know, I'm like, okay, well, I've done this much. I
mm.
might as well
Just
just
finish
finish it.
it.
And before I know it, it's 2 a.m. and I'm
Wow.
still working on this thing.
Mm.
And I'm just like, why? Like I wasn't planning. I planned to watch some TV shows,
Right.
but that's just it.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm honestly still learning every day how to balance and not kill myself with too much
Yeah,
work.
but to be fair, like I feel like I'm learning that sometimes like that's like the price to pay to like get what you
It
want.
is the price to pay because if you want to achieve a lot, you have to put in more time than other people are putting
Mm,
in. By standard, everybody puts in 40 hours a week.
mm,
Let's see. So if you want to achieve more than everybody, you have to put in more than 40 hours.
yeah.
It's not 41 that's going to get you there.
At all.
It's not 45. So you have to work 60, 70 hour
Okay.
weeks. You have to put in a lot of time. And you are working hard, you're also working smart. You
Mm,
think of the things that people are not thinking of.
mm,
Find ways to be a step ahead.
mm,
So it's the price that you have to pay to get to where you want to get to. That's the reality. I'm not even where I want to get to yet, so I can't stop. And that's another thing with me. I've not see again the same way I am with tasks. Now let's look at getting my business to where I want to get to
mm,
as one big task.
mm,
I'm not there yet, so I can't
mm.
stop.
Right.
I can't stop. I'm like, Hopefully sooner rather than later, but I don't know when I'm going to get there.
Mm.
So I don't even know when I'm going to be able to take a break and be like, okay, you know what? You've done well. Yeah,
Yeah, rest.
relax. People ask me vacation. I'm like,
What?
what is a vacation? Like literally, I'm like, what is a vacation? Like with the nature of my work currently, because I still have a very small team. I have maybe 4 people that work for me, and it's like I get a break maybe once, 1 or 2 days every 4 or 5 months.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't like. I'm the guy that if you force me to travel with you now, I'm on vacation looking at my email or looking at
Mm.
my phone or still trying to create something because unfortunately the industry that I work in, it doesn't stop. Something is always happening.
Happening.
During the season, there's games, there's things that you have to do, there's projects that you have to work on.
Mm.
In the off season, now there's transfer rumors, there's reports. People want to capitalize on the off season to get ready
Mm.
for the season. You have to keep your clients engaged. Anybody that I'm working on their brand, we have to keep them active during that time.
Mm.
There's just never really a break.
Mm.
And football is a what have you done for me lately type of job for the players, but also for me that work behind the scenes. I can get a client a sponsorship today. In 2 weeks, they say, yeah,
What
what
next?
like what next? And I'm like, do you think it's
It's
that easy to just
easy.
get these things? But that's how they are. They're
Mm.
just thinking like, okay, so what's the next thing? What's the next thing? So you have to constantly be on your toes. You have to constantly be working, be pushing, be talking to people. And I mean, again, going back to relationships, it's not everybody that can deal with that when you don't have time for the little things. I still find that if you want to be in a relationship, obviously you have to be intentional about it and you have to create time
Mm.
for things, for people that are important, for things that are important in your life. It's all about organizing and scheduling yourself properly. But
Mm.
at the same time, sometimes I look at it, I also do not want to have to schedule everything in my life forever.
Mm.
But I know that, like you said, it's the price that I have to pay at the
Mm.
moment.
Mm.
And then to get to the point whereby
You don't have to
you
do
don't
it.
have to do everything. You don't have to do all that much by yourself. You have a whole team of people. You can actually take breaks and you know that the years are still going to be moving.
Mm.
And until you get to that point though,
You just have to
you
keep
just
at
have to
it.
keep at it,
Fair
literally.
enough, fair enough. So like officially we are in the Eagles Tracker 2.0 era. Essentially. So okay, so I guess maybe for us to conclude, you can just look into the camera and tell the viewers like, what should they expect, from Eagles Tracker 2.0, from like potential customers, like, people that are interested in your brand, like, players that are interested, maybe like partners, brands, like
Mm.
what should they know about Eagles Tracker
I
2.0?
mean, okay, since we didn't officially introduce what exactly it is that we do, I will say so. Eagle Track is a sports media and marketing company. We focus on Nigerian football and Nigerian football players, helping people to know more about Nigerian football and Nigerian football players, and also helping athletes to grow their own personal brands. We do everything from personal branding to social media management to content creation. And we also work with brands that are looking for an inroad into the world of football and the world of sports. If you want to promote your brand using athletes, or if you want to reach a sports loving audience, that's where we come in and we help you to connect with people and help you to find the right strategies to really grow and achieve your results. As far as what you can expect, more content. That's the front facing, so that's the part that a lot of people enjoy seeing. Talking about football, storytelling about Nigerian football players, and more clients. You'll see more of the work that we're doing, helping players to grow their personal brands. You can check out some of the players that we've worked with in the past, like Rashida Ajibade. She's a shining light, a prime example of what we can do if somebody gives us the time to work on their brand. And also, you would see more partnerships and collaborations with different brands in and out of the sports world, because that's another angle that we're really pushing on right now and that we're really trying to grow on. And that's only in 2.0. This thing is going to go all the way to like 100. there's honestly so much more that is yet to come.
Wow, wow.
I've always looked at it as a three-step plan or three-phase plan.
Mm.
We're still in phase one. Phase one is to get people to love and appreciate Nigerian footballers a lot more.
Mm.
The appreciation has gone up, it has increased. I remember when I started, there was only one other brand
Mm,
that existed that was focused on just telling Nigerian footballers and Nigerian football stories.
mm.
Now when I look on social media,
A lot of
there's a
them.
lot of them. I don't like to say I started it, but I did.
Yeah.
There was one person that existed before me, but I'm the one that led the effort and got many other people to be interested in this thing.
Mm,
And I like it because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm trying to really make sure that there is a football ecosystem.
mm,
It's not just a few people here and there. Till today, if you ask people who are the big players in football in Nigeria,
mm,
they can't tell you. Maybe they'll mention some clubs, they'll mention some certain people, but there is really no ecosystem. But then you go to other countries, there are hundreds of people that are doing well. Everybody's making good money.
mm,
We need to be able to do the same in Nigeria. A lot of people in Nigeria don't like collaboration, but I will
mm,
force them to collaborate.
mm,
I talk to agents all the time. I'm like, you are a small agent with two, three clients here and there. There's this other small agent with three, four, five clients. There are many small agents here and there. We don't have any agency that can be a behemoth
mm,
because people don't like to collaborate.
mm.
You think, oh, if you introduce your client to this person, the person
They're
will
still
stay your
your
client.
clients.
The person will know this thing. But at the end of the day, you can work together. There are some other agents that are doing big things now, but there can be more. You look at
Mm,
the Western world, look at all the agencies. They are huge. And they are in sports, they are in music, they are
mm,
in entertainment, they are in all sorts of things.
mm,
So at the end of the day, we're going to collaborate, whether people like it or not. And when other people tie in and buy into the vision and see what can be done, I know that there will be benefit for everybody.
mm,
Football is a big business everywhere in the world except Nigeria and other places right now. And we need to make it into a big business.
mm.
And everybody will eat. Nobody, I always say, you don't have to pull somebody down for you to
To
go up.
go up.
And I know that a lot of people have that crab in the barrel mentality, but it will change. We have to change this thing.
Mm.
There's so much that will and should be done. We're still in phase one. When it's time for phase two, I'll let everybody know. And when we get to phase three, we'll inform as well.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
And oh, that was amazing.
No, thank